Hello, my name is Mollie Hosmer-Dillard. I'm a professional artist working with Adams County to coordinate a big public art project with 7 different schools. There are about almost 200 students working together to create this art piece, and the basic idea was to get them talking and thinking about things that are important to them. So that's one of the pitches that I make in the classroom, that this isn't about something that's important to me or to their teachers or to the principals. This is trying to get at issues that they spend a lot of time thinking about and talking about with their friends. So we're working together to make what I'm calling a multivocal painting. It's a painting with many different voices. So this is a way to work with a big group of people and have them each paint a tile that will become part of the final painting. In the first phase, I worked with each school to sort of develop some processes to think together and brainstorm together and to do some creative thinking together, thinking outside the box. And in today's phase, we were brainstorming ideas. So the main focus of today was to have students generate ideas about what's important to them.
Having a professional outside artist in the classroom is always really great for students, especially here at Central. We really want to get students ready for the real professional world and to get them prepared for what being an artist in the outside world could be like. So definitely having the credit and kind of I guess credibility behind a professional artist in the classroom is always super helpful and a great new fresh perspective for our kids. I
was here in February and we did our initial workshop around creativity. We'd made a drawing machine together. This painting is the one that we're gonna do is really, really special because you all get to decide what ideas go into the painting. And it's not about ideas that are important to me, it's ideas that are important to you. So what I want to do today is to help kind of generate some of those ideas. In the first round, I'm going to ask a question, and each person, you can talk about it in your group, but each person is going to write 3 sticky notes in answer to the question. Each sticky note, you write 1 idea on each sticky note, and then you're going to put it on your paper, the big paper in the middle. Let's think about Thornton, and if you could make any change to Thornton to make it a better place, what would you do? Awards to people who help spread kindness. That is incredible. All right, so each person can do 3, right? No kidnappers, that's a great one.
I like this workshop activity because it really tells all the things that are wrong in the world and what things we can fix. Because if you have heart, if you have strength, then you can fix the problems in the world.
Topics that I picked were religion and the use of drugs and alcohol and how it affects other people.
Definitely war, homelessness, sexism, how women get treated differently from men.
Graduating, trauma, school relationships, because throughout in life we're going to need those things. It'll help us out in the future a lot with jobs and communicating with other people.
We got to talk about very important topics that are going on in the world that not a lot of people talk about and it's ignored. And I think that it's important that we confront these important topics and we do something about them, because it's important to speak up and not stay silent.
I really enjoyed this extracurricular for me. I do online school, so it helps me get out of the house and talk about things that I feel are important with people similar in age.
Here's the next question. What's something that you feel kind of worried about? When you think about getting to graduate from high school, you think about the next several years of life, is there anything that you feel kind of worried about the world?
I got to hear a lot of people's opinions about what they're scared and what they're not scared of, and what they think is the biggest risk.
What I enjoyed about this activity was seeing the different struggles that everyone else has, and to see that I have similar struggles and worries that a lot of other people have too, and that I'm not really alone in this.
What I want to do now is I want you to work with the groups at your table around your piece of paper, and I want you to think about a bullseye. Right? So in a bullseye, if you're shooting an arrow at a bullseye, you're trying to hit the very middle. So I want you to work in your groups to put the things that you think are the most important in the middle of your paper, and the things that are less important at the edges. So you can rearrange the sticky notes, but you have to kind of talk and work together as a group about how you want to do that. So what I'd like you to do is talk with your groups and choose 5 that you want to put up on that board. And when you choose them, one person at a time can take each of those 5 notes. So maybe you could choose 5 different people in your group to go stick a note up on the board. So work with your group and talk about it. Choose the 5 that you want to represent your group. Then in the next phase, I'm working with 2 students from each school on Zoom so that all the schools can talk together and we can sort of filter through the ideas that each school has come up with. And then the final phase is to paint a tile. The main thing that I think would be great for students is to get to see their ideas realized in a professional and sophisticated way. That's what I feel like my role is here, to listen to them, but then to put their ideas into a finalized artwork that can hang at the Adams County Government Center.
We're just so pleased to have Mollie come out and share her project with us so students can take that time to zero in on what is important to them. And today I was so impressed. I heard students really digging deep and finding things that seemed relevant.
This has been a great experience coming in and having the kids see and interact with an actual working artist, and they're very excited about the experience and the opportunities. One actually asked the other day, when is she coming back? So it's been a great process.
This multivocal project has been amazing to bring students together, to collaborate with Mollie, a professional artist. They were so excited at the prospect of being chosen to collaborate with a professional artist and get to be asked to put their ideas out into the world in the form of art. And just watching them over just the few workshops already build their confidence in expressing their ideas and sharing them with each other and with Mollie is really exciting, and I can't wait to see when it all comes together.
So we're prepping for students coming into Aurora Central High, and I'm preparing some little plates of paint so that they can each paint one of these tiled pieces. So these are all laser cut wooden pieces that are going to add up to the whole design. We are closing into the final phases. We've done all this brainstorming, discussion, and prep, and now students are painting. So they chose this symbol of, we had conversations about homelessness was a theme that came up quite a bit, and so in trying to find a symbol for a home that wasn't a literal image of a house, one of the things that came up was a seed. You know, it's something, a place where a being is safe to grow, you know, there's a layer of protection. But we also really liked the seed because so many of the issues that the students chose, there were like personal components and global components that seemed interrelated. So what students are going to be painting on the seed is something representing the personal on the inside and something representing the global on the outside. So it's kind of cool. It's a dual part, a little puzzle that they each get to do that then adds up into the bigger shape.
Having students really thinking critically about the things that they care about is always something that's kind of difficult to get students to do, especially if a class is a shorter amount of time. So seeing them work together and kind of come to a consensus about these ideas that they think are important in the world, I think has been super interesting.
In education, we talk about voice and choice a lot. Those are really important things for engagement, just in general, right? So do the kids get to speak their voice, and then do they get to have any kind of say in how they manifest that? And I think this project speaks to both of those things. Mollie was very particular about getting the kids involved early on to even pick designs and the message that they wanted to communicate. And each individual piece, then each artist here gets to express themselves while being part of this shared community with the other artists here in the program and the artists also around the state as well, around Adams County. And so one of the things that I think is really exciting is that it actually ties in directly with this exploration of identity that we've been doing kind of outside of the project as well. So it's an extension of who am I individually, and then who am I as part of that global community as well.
Mine is how people can fake their happiness, or when you ask them a question, you'd be like, what's wrong? They'd be like, none. But something truly could be happening deep in the inside. But it also shows how the cracks are going through the egg, and it's how it symbolizes how we're also destroying the earth at the same time, as we're also being hugely affected by each other's mental health. It raises awareness for things that really need to be fixed and that we need to fix.
For the centerpiece, most of the time it just feels like I'm spiraling. So I just kind of like to convey that. And then the outside drawing was for like global warming.
Basically, how I wanted to represent mine is that basically the middle is where like how everyone has peace inside, how everyone has that connection of unity with their family or has something dear to them. That's why I made it mostly like colorful. And then on the outside layer, I wanted to like kind of represent how sometimes we get very paranoid from the things we hear or how life affects us in many ways and how sometimes we let our fear or the hatred just come to us.
It's music, you know. Yeah, I kind of thought of like how everybody listens to music. Yeah, can't go anywhere without listening to music. It's kind of like everybody in one. Music brings people together.
My piece is basically about the Native Americans being silenced. I have the hand over the mouth to represent the silentation of how the Native Americans are not seen as cultured, they're not seen as people. So I painted some feathers and some dragonflies and like am representing myself for who I am, because I'm gonna put myself out there as who I am rather than something I'm not.
The inside of it is like a tombstone for my parents because I lost my dad because he couldn't breathe, and my mom to drugs and alcohol, and that's one of the topics we were talking about. So I did kind of like a tombstone, and now I'm doing birds in it for them. And then the outside is like a tree to represent like climate change and how like the trees are dying.
It's the Palestine flag with My Little Pony because it just means a lot to me that they're going through a lot right now, and I just wanted to paint about it.
It's about free spirit and music.
Mine contains purples, pinks, and blues just surrounding it to give it kind of like a nighttime sky. And I decided to try to put my fingerprint in the middle as like individuality. I think my attention was drawn to the war and that my feelings and opinions of that we're not on the right side. That really connected with me, and I wanted to voice my opinion on that. So part of this fingerprint is individuality, and the other part is maybe hope to something else that can be better, that the ones affected by the war can reach their hands out and their identity to a good place.
This is my personal problem, and my personal problem is a mental illness and how some people fail to get a loved one, a family member, or their own kid help with their personal battles. So that's a big personal issue for me. And then my world problem on the outside is how things progressively are getting more expensive, and I don't know how my generation and generations after me are going to make an expense in a living when we're older from how expensive things progressively get.
The personal part is about like trying to blend in and please your family, and then the global piece is about mental health and how some people really struggle with problems like that and like alcoholism.
It's about drug abuse and alcoholism. The inside is mental health. Mental health is important to me because like it's just a really big part of the world that a lot of people don't care about. And drug abuse is important because I think that instead of like letting people suffer with that, we should help them get help and be better.
It's my little project I just did today. All right, so FO, it's family over everything. Family over everything. You know, I messed up right there, but it has kind of a meaning too. You gotta put the greater things above the bad things, you know, if that makes sense.
About racism and how people get discriminated. My family, or just like people that I know, they be getting discriminated. In America, it's mostly like other cultures, other ethnicities that be getting discriminated. This is just, I like blue.
The outside part is about like racial inequality in the modern day, the economy and all that stuff. So like the spreader part is supposed to represent and like all of the white people in the modern day economy and how they have it better off than the black people in the modern day economy. Yeah, so the darker ones are the black people and the whiter ones are the white people. And then the inside is about like anxiety and all that stuff. It's something that many people go through, and it's like something that I feel like should be acknowledged in art. And so, yeah.
This is a seed I'm making, so basically this is all like about my outside world, basically. So I kind of see hallucinations, and I'm kind of scared of the dark as well. I kind of am like very scared of like dark places, like that right there, and being scared in the nature because like it's so pitch black. I need that light to guide me.
One half is about global warming, and the other one is about sexism. Because global warming is happening really fast, and then sexism, I just don't think women get treated right.
So my piece is about global warming and homophobia, because I'm a lesbian and it really hurts me when people make fun of people in LGBTQ, and also that global warming really worries me, and it's really hard to you just think about it, and we should act. So on the seed, there is a girl holding a pride flag, and she's curled in a ball being laughed at. And I'm not done with the global part, but the global part is meant to, the outside is going to have a melting ice cap.
Mine is about abortion. So this part is about abortion and how it affects the world, and then this part is going to be how people say I can't do it and stuff like that when they can do it, so it'll boost them up so they could believe in themselves to do it. This one, it's important to me because I feel like babies, they shouldn't be dying the first time. They didn't even get to live, so that's kind of sad to me. So that's kind of why this is important to me, because in gymnastics I always say I can't do it and stuff like that, because I feel like I can't, and then when my coaches say you can do it, and then I end up doing it.
My middle part is about my stress. My stress is kind of my grades.
Mine is about I'm 14 years old and I'm a Christian, and for being 14, peer pressure, it's really hard because everybody wants you to do something with them and you're not in the same perspective as them. So it's just hard to keep your beliefs while everyone else is different. That's my inside, and the outside is just peer pressure for everyone. It's they avoid their dreams and goals because they think that fitting in is better than following their own dreams.
Mine is about myself and how I don't know who I am as a person yet, and then how people are always different once they finally bloom, like the flower, how they're different people and it's okay to be different throughout the world. That would be the outside of that. I'm an unbloomed flower because I don't know exactly who I am. I have an idea, but I don't know yet.
This side is about drug abuse. Inside, my parents were divorced when I was younger, so it is about living in separate housing. Always having a weight on your chest, people watching you, and always thinking that you have to be perfect.
You know, there are three here where three students work together and their pieces align. And so there's this phrase, the world's not perfect, but it's not that bad. And those words happen across the three pieces. So each of them painted part of that expression, and they each did different symbols and different illustrations of that sentiment.
So mine is supposed to be symbolizing fighting in school and fighting with countries in war, because it really changes our society and it causes a lot of problems in our world. But it's not that bad. Mine, Charlie, and Addie's are gonna say, world's not perfect, but it's not that bad on it. And ours will connect to say that on each other's.
We are finally down to our painting days this week, and it's been really fun and exciting and a little wild and stressful and chaotic, as huge art collaborations always are. And like I texted Molly yesterday, I said it's my favorite kind of project. I love the kind of wildly chaotic, because the most creativity and energy come from events like this and experiences like this. So it's really fun to see the kids you know, in their element and painting and now laughing and more comfortable, you know, because they get to make the art. It's such a cool representation that she calls this style of painting multivocal, and the process of it ended up, we identified that all of the issues that the kids were talking about, the biggest common denominator was that they didn't feel like their voices were heard. There were personal issues, global issues, and they're not part of the conversation. And so this mural being a sound wave representing their voices and representing multiple voices. So it ties back into that multivocal of being able to offer a platform for all of these young people who don't feel like they're being heard in the bigger scheme of the conversation.
All of this, especially this event, is building in them, and it may not even show the benefits now. I think once they see that piece on the wall and they see their little part of it and they see that piece, that they're a piece in the community artwork, I think it's going to really come together for them and they're going to find that meaning. And then they can go back again and again and see that in a public space, permanent forever.
Today we took our original sketches and our cardboard sketches, and the students were able to get their final wood pieces to create their final design. This was neat because they were able to take issues that were important to them and verbalize it and visualize it through their art, making sure that they have an opportunity to have their voice be heard along with their peers in a collaborative way.
My kids, I'm so impressed with the work that they created. I think they didn't really understand the vision of it all coming together into this giant piece, and as they're seeing them today, I could see them get really excited, and I'm so proud of what they did. They had to think about what their thoughts are, if that makes sense. Like the question she asked and what is your voice? What is the thing that you want to say? Because they feel like their voice isn't important so often that even when you ask them like, what is your inner life about? They haven't learned how to like articulate that yet. So I think for some of them going through this piece, they understood themselves a little bit better. We just finished the final workshop. I've been to 2 schools every day for the whole week, 6 different schools. I did 2 visits at the schools that met for an hour each, so each, you know, they had like at least 2 hours to work on their pieces. And it's been incredible. I mean, it's really cool to see the student artwork come together. These ideas that have been kind of floating in our heads are suddenly concrete. And it's like I'm looking at these pieces here and it's a bunch of little mini masterpieces, you know. Each one is in a different hand and a different voice with a different style, with a different image, a different idea behind it. So another thing that's been surprising to me is just working with middle and high school teachers. These are phenomenal people who are managing classrooms, sometimes of up to, you know, in this room we had I think 44 students. And just the skill, the artistry of being able to facilitate classes for that many people and have things run smoothly and communicate, but also have a personal relationship with each student, it's like unbelievable. So that's been a huge insight for me in this project, is just seeing how talented some of these public middle and high school teachers are. Right now we're at Counterpath, a community art space, and I've been piecing the painting together with the help of an assistant. The pieces are cut with a laser cutter, which is a hairline cut. And so there's some places where the paint that the students used goes just slightly over the edge, which kind of prevents it from all fitting together. So I've just been going through and scraping a little bit of the paint off, making sure that they fit nicely. So I'm about to put on the very first piece. I chose this one to put on first. This person painted one figure sort of by itself, and then a whole crowd of people on the outside.
Mine is about how I'm usually alone and I separate myself, but the whole world is usually always like in groups and stuff. It's important because I think it represents me in a kind of way.
So this felt really representative of, you know, the personal and the global, or the individual and the collective. So it felt like a really good first piece to put on. So you can see the overall shape of the sound wave, but then each of the pieces is made of an individual painting by one of the students. So it's really exciting to see how it's coming together, and I mean, this is the first time I'm seeing it all together because, you know, you're working in the classroom and it's kind of chaotic and the students are painting their individual pieces, and I always have a feeling of, is this going to turn out? How is this going to work exactly? But feeling really pleased with how it's turning out. And as you can see, this whole piece is about 11 feet wide and I think 5 feet tall. It's in 3 segments right now, but it'll all be screwed together by the time it is presented at the Adams County Government Center.
So thank you for coming to the unveiling of Adams County's newest public art project, Student Voices of Adams County. Adams County is dedicated to increasing access and opportunities to the arts and understands the importance of arts and culture as an avenue to create change, start conversations, and uplift voices.
Being here in front of all of you, expressing this magnificent piece from all these students, from all these schools, representing almost the same thing, how everything is connected, intertwined with one another. How many times in life as children, we don't have much as a voice, or we take so many things inside. Me, myself, personally, I've been through a lot with my family. And during the conversations we had with Mollie, with my teachers, and through the meetings, it was very interesting because many of the topics I really did not expect that it would end up being something so deep. I know that many people have different backgrounds and everyone comes from a different place. Everyone experiences their own thing. But at the end of the day, we all have problems. And as children, we notice that. So all these children here today, all these kids, all these high school students, including myself, have seen the trials through our parents. We have seen what goes on through the world. And this really gave a chance, in my opinion, for every student to really express how they truly feel. Voices need to be heard. So I stand here and I thank everyone, to the teachers, to the children, to the parents. Because without all of you, this wouldn't be here today. And to Adams County as well.
The significance of this art piece is that it visually and literally represents the voices of hundreds of youth across Adams County. Talking to the youth in the audience today who participated, for many of them this is their first art show. It's truly beautiful. It hopefully will really inspire them to continue to do art in the future and that their voice matters.
One of our goals with cultural arts is to really support artists and to try to create socially engaged projects that really reflect the work that Adams County does. And so cultural arts is all about how we can bring the power of art in some of those spaces. And what art can do is really create dialogue. It could create a space for people to talk about things that might be uncomfortable. And art gives you the platform to do it and then express yourself through that.